Hi Zeb, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm super happy the movie's out in the world. People seem to be like loving it. I'm super thrilled.
Yeah, no, it's so great to be talking to you. The director of Stop the Insanity, Finding Susan Powter. I'm Laura Clark from LA Story. Your film is about finding Susan Powter.
Yeah.
How did you find her, and how did you know you wanted to make a feature-length documentary about her?
I didn't really know that I wanted to make a feature length. I'm obsessed with documentary. It's all I watch. It's all I'm my heroes are other filmmakers. I'm a total doc junkie. And so I had a list of people that I was thinking about. I had made a lot of shorts, and so as I was like thinking about trying to do something more like my first feature, I had a list of people, and I was like, maybe I'll do a biopic. And it just so happens that I started looking for Susan. It took me about 9 months. I was like calling, emailing places, and not like every day, but like a couple times a week, trying to reach out to like see if I could find. She was nowhere to be found. Nobody would email me back. Nobody would give up any information. Nobody really knew where she was. And then there was an old Instagram account, a fan account for Stop the Insanity that had about like 5,000 followers. So I went one by one down each follower, and there was one account that it just had like pictures of like soups and cauliflower, and it just felt Susan Powter-ish. And there was a phone number on the profile. Like you click on the profile and there was a phone number. So I just started texting that number, and it was Susan Powter. And she had totally forgotten about that Instagram account. It had been like 10, 15 years old. And then we agreed to meet after a few back and forths. And the day I met her, and I heard about the circumstances that she was living in, and also could see that she still had the magic, she still had the energy, that this was like an incredible racehorse that, could still race, just needed to like a little bit of whatever. I was like, oh, I'm definitely going to do this. And so, it was like I didn't set out and I wasn't like determined from the beginning, but once I met her, I knew that it's what I wanted to do.
That's amazing. And this is also your first feature-length
Yes.
documentary.
Yep.
Besides obviously the length, compared to the shorts you've made, what were some of the big differences in creating, this feature-length documentary?
I wanted it to be longer, and I wanted it to be a series to honestly, but we were having a really hard time while we were making it to like find a partner, but I'm really proud of how it turned out. Some of my whole thing is like every scene I'm thinking about where's the audience in this, and like what are they feeling and experiencing, and then based off of where they are now, where do I want them to go there? And then, so I think just considering the breadth of what an audience would be experiencing over 90 minutes as opposed to 17 minutes was like super fun. You know what I mean? It just I like none of this, the challenging stuff was like making it for no money. The challenging stuff was like literally driving back and forth between Las Vegas, carrying the film equipment, carrying the sound equipment, taking the notes. Like that was hard. The actual making and putting it together was like the most fun ever. I mean, it's like that's all I want to do. So I was like loving it.
Oh, that's great. And, there are, a lot of scenes in the film that, are sensitive and, you're showing like a very vulnerable side of
Yeah.
Susan. And she's really open from what viewers can see. Did you have to like negotiate some of the situations with her?
No, she was literally every time we would go there, we would have a bit like here's the thing, Susan Powter will not fake it. She will not give the line reading. She won't come in and do it again. If you have to catch it live and real. And so I would have ideas of what I would want to do. Like, when we got all of the archival back, that was like, okay, we'll go through the archival. But when we would come, sometimes like her car would break down, and that would turn into the most like incredibly heartbreaking, revealing, alarming sequence, right? That I didn't know was going to happen. When the hair happened later on in the film, when she's in Los Angeles, like had no idea that was going to happen. But we did like, we had Marianne come in to Las Vegas because I felt like that's Susan's only friend, and I wanted to see them together on camera. I thought that would be like I also think like Susan is incredible and she could carry the 90 minutes on her own, but for the audience, I wanted them to see how fun and playful and funny she can be with a friend. Um, yeah, I mean, there wasn't the main thing was that We weren't going to lie. We weren't going to fake it. We weren't going to produce this. And the one request she had was that she wanted it to be her story. She didn't want to involve family and kids and for me, the main thing was that here we have this like unicorn character who's living in a very common American experience, right? She's in poverty. She's a woman of a certain age. She's invisible. She's living in a food drought. Like those were things that I just thought, wow, if let's watch this unicorn go through all of that. You know what I mean? Like, so it was just kind of like the trust was kind of instant, honestly. Like, I remember the very first time we met, like, she looked at me and she was like, I like you. It's crazy because, when you get to know Susan Powter, she doesn't like a lot of people. And so it's like a miracle that we connected.
Yeah, that's amazing. I could kind of get that vibe from what you're
Yeah.
saying and from your film. Speaking of the kind of unicorn aspect, I remember her from the 90s, like kind of,
Yeah.
seeing her pop up on
Yeah.
infomercials and everything. And you're right, she had this energy and just her look was so unique. When you met her in person, all
Mhm.
these years later, was there anything kind of like, were you shocked or were you,
I was
immediately drawn to her?
unbelievably shocked at the level of poverty that she was living in. And really it took me a while to understand her level of integrity. Like her integrity is so high. This is a woman who would not sell her story to TMZ, would not go on some really shitty reality. Like I said to her, why are you not doing like XYZ, XYZ? She was like, I don't want to do that. And it wasn't that she was too prideful. It was that she has such integrity for like, what she believes that she just wouldn't sacrifice that. So I was shocked. And also, living in that level of poverty for that many years, it changes the person. It changes the way they think, it changes the way they react. The very first time we met up for lunch, we went to a ramen restaurant and she could not get, she hadn't been to a restaurant in like 10 years. Like there were people coughing off to the side and she would like freak out. The smells, the noise, like she jokes about it now. She's like, I was Nell in that ramen restaurant. Like I was literally, and I'm like, you were like, you definitely were a little Nellish. And now to see how like our favorite thing to do is like to go get lunch or go get dinner. I mean, I love spending time with her. She's like super funny. And I mean, to see how much she has evolved and changed in the 2 years since we first met is like it's really a testament to the power of like the human spirit.
Absolutely. And tell me just a little bit how Jamie Lee Curtis got involved with your project.
Yeah, so I was a producer at the Late Late Show with James Corden. I did the entire run and I was her producer. And so she'd been on the show like 10, 15 times and we became friendly and she added me to some gratitude group text chain that she does every morning where you send gratitudes and I don't even know who else is on this list, but because I don't know any of the numbers, but you kind of send it into a vacuum. And so anyway, the day I met Susan Powter, I'm driving back to Los Angeles and I just texted in that group thread. One of the things I was grateful for was that I found Susan Powter. My phone rings 2 seconds later. It's Jamie Lee Curtis. She wanted to know the first thing she wanted to know, does she still have that energy? And I said, yeah, she does. I said, it's really dusty and it's buried under a lot of really intense, horrible circumstances and poverty, but it is still intact. And she said, well, what do you need? And I was like, I don't know. I need money. I need like infrastructure. She literally wired me money the next day. And she said, go back to Las Vegas tomorrow and start filming. And I did. I literally did. And I was able, I mean, she gave me enough money to get started, right? And that was like one of the biggest, I don't want to say blessings, but it was something I clung to while I was making it that, Jamie Lee Curtis believed in this before she saw anything, before she knew anything. And that was something that kind of kept me motivated to go while, we were making it because, and I'll be forever, ever, ever grateful to Jamie Lee Curtis for that. And so is Susan, like literally so is Susan.
Yeah, absolutely. And it reminded me a lot of Jamie Lee Curtis's one of her latest films, The Last Showgirl.
Yeah.
And just the comparisons were so
It's a very
strong.
It's, I'm from a single mom. I have a twin sister. I'm very rooted in like female like energy and female story. There is a massive, it's like, it's a very common experience for women to hit a certain age and then suddenly become invisible. And not just invisible, they're then dealing with like the circumstances of like the discrimination, the sexism, the trauma of just surviving being a woman in America for 50 or 60 years. It's like, it's a very real thing that as a man, it just, the confirmation of that was horrible and really, really frightening and devastating. But, Susan sort of stepping into that and telling the truth about that and really owning that, to me, I think that is going to be what sends her to the next level of success is because she's willing to talk about that. And in that movie, The Last Showgirl, that is a lot of that. They were women who were really clinging to some former idea of themselves. And to watch the sadness of that was like, I feel like my movie has a lot more laughs than The Last Showgirl. Like I've been to many screenings. I've heard the audience like roar with laughter many times. And so, but I loved that movie, The Last Showgirl. I thought Pamela Anderson was incredible and Jamie Lee Curtis, she should have gotten an Oscar nomination for it.
Oh, totally. No. And yeah, your film is so much different. In fact, I was really struck by just how much humor
Mhm.
Susan still has given everything that she's gone through.
100%.
That really came through. Um,
Yeah.
w oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I got nothing.
Okay. Well, we see her kind of enjoying some success at the end with the People magazine shoot, and everything. It was so visceral just seeing her like just step in the ocean with her bare feet. Um,
Love that
what's
sequence.
happening?
It's one of my favorites. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. What's happening with Susan now?
She's doing great. Like she's getting speaking. So we were on the she was on the Today Show a few weeks ago to promote the movie, and it went absolutely viral. And she finally connected with a manager and a lawyer that she really feels comfortable with, which has been for me this whole time. I've just been really nervous because I'm like, Suze, you got to get some help here. Like she's like, no, they'll DM me and I'll get into it. I'm like, no, like you have to have somebody. And so she now has a team of people that are putting together speaking engagements, and she's got a lot of very great ideas for product. And, her wellness sort of franchise is much bigger than just wellness. It's like life, it's like, she's on social media now. She's on TikTok, she's on Instagram, and she's connecting with people every single day, which is to her what she always wanted. So I think that there'll be possibly she self-published a memoir that sold really well. I wouldn't be surprised if she gets another deal with her former publishing house, Simon and Schuster. I could see, there's 2026 will be very booked and busy for Susan Powter. She already is.
I'm so glad to hear that. And you talk about her new team that she's setting up.
Mhm.
In the film, you touch on it. I mean, we understand that she, had a, you know, terrible relationship with her former business partners, and it kind of resulted in the
Yeah.
situation she's in now. I guess my first part of the question is, I feel like she talks about it, but she didn't get into it so much.
And that was very on purpose because the lawyers and the insurance people and the legal teams all said that a lot of this is 30 years old, and this is going to be her word against the manager's word. And they were like, I felt like we didn't need to go into the nitty gritty of exactly what happened, right? And I just kind of felt like it doesn't really matter what happened. What matters is how she's feeling about it today. And so my idea as the director or storyteller, I was like, let's focus on the feelings. Let's focus on how it has manifested in her life today. Like when she's at the car shop and she's telling you, like, I can't get a credit card. I can't get an apartment. Like to me, that seems more important than in 1995 they did this and they did that. I also felt like a lot of it was, going to be impossible to really track down, and some of them are dead. So I felt like they know they listen. every single person I spoke to that was connected to this, and most of them did not appear on camera, they all validated everything Susan said. From literary agents to former lawyers to former talk show producers, every single person said, "Oh yeah, that was a totally terrible dynamic that she was stuck in." So I kind of felt like, if I believe Susan, and I would take her side in any kind of whatever dispute, but it just for the film, it was too risky to, you know what I mean, get into, and I don't want the film to get shrouded in any kind of legal whatever, I want people to find the film and like be inspired by it and feel connected to the feelings, not specifics about the legal stuff.
Yeah, I can see how that could potentially get bogged down. The film could get
Oh,
bogged down with that.
100%. Yeah.
Um, but is she kind of nervous about getting a new team after what she's been through?
She wouldn't tell you that she's nervous. I mean, it's so funny because she hates the word trauma, and I love to say it to her all the time. I'm like, "Are you feeling traumatized?" Like, I like tease her about that all the time. But I think that it took her a while. I mean, there have been a few people who have approached her, and she's a very energy-driven person. And so if the energy is not right, but this one person who we connected with when we were in New York, she just immediately felt comfortable with them. And, they've approached her in a very gentle, like, kind of patient way. And I think that we'll see what happens. But I mean, I'm super thrilled that this team of people are now stepping in and they're incredible and they've got a great track record. And, so we'll see what happens. But
Amazing. And then, you've had a theatrical release for your film. It's on VOD. Like, what are your hopes for your film, moving
it's
forward?
number one. It's literally number one on Apple TV right now on the doc charts. It's number like 40 something on the overall top 100 films on Apple, which is crazy because this is an independent documentary. Like it cost very, very little to make. And the fact that we are at the top of the charts and who knows how we're doing on Amazon. Like we haven't even seen those numbers yet. But my dream for it is that like millions of people see it, that they just like and that they all, Susan's whole thing is like sometimes it doesn't work out in life, right? And if it's not working out, then what do you do? And for me, the major message of the film is like the power of mindfulness, right? Like putting your feet in the ocean, rolling down your window in your car and letting the music from the motorcycle come in to sort of like wash away whatever spiral. Like literally when you are crumbling in here, the way out of that is through what's going on around you. So to me, the like meta, whatever message of the film is like the power of mindfulness. So I just want as many people to see it as possible to like fall into to think about that.
Amazing. Well, it's a really powerful film. Best
Thank you,
of luck.
Laura.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Seb.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye bye.